Good evening and welcome to 16 by 9, The Bigger Picture. It might look like penny pinching taken to an extreme, but freeganism is about more than saving a few bucks. It's a way of life. Freegans say we waste way too much, and they can live off of what we throw away. And they're picking up our trash to prove a point. Here's our Mike Drolet.
It's hard to imagine any of these commuters not owning a watch, or a good pair of shoes, or any of the other essentials to get them through the day. Yet everywhere they go, there's another ad or a store trying to sell them more. That's consumerism in a nutshell. Doesn't work anymore? Buy a new one. Need a change? Buy something new. But what if the temptation was there and we just said no? Is there anything here that really stands out for you?
Just this.
What is it?
I think it's a candle holder. If I bought this in the store, it'd be like, a ridiculous amount of money.
Lori Kleik is a freegan. If it sounds like some 60s new agey anti-globalization movement, you'd actually be right. That's where it started. But unlike most trends from that era, it survived and evolved. It's not about free love, it's about using what society throws away.
Oh, look at this!
Have you ever thought about how much fresh food is wasted? What about furniture or electronics? Freeganism exists not in spite of consumerism, but because of it.
My friends think I'm crazy. Yeah, they think I'm insane. Yeah, and my mom bribed me. She said, I'll buy you your food. You don't have to do this, I'll buy it. I'm like, I have money. I can buy it myself.
So she buys her own food, but not all of it. She treats the paths in and around Toronto's parks as her own private grocery store. Her current obsession is wildflowers. She picks them, researches to make sure they're okay, and then adds them to the salad she prepares at home.
I don't really know what this is, but I seen this on the internet when I went to a site for edible flowers, and this was on there. So I'll double check, but I'm gonna add these to my salad today.
When the baby boomers had their kids, they tried to teach them all those lessons they learned from the 60s. Heck, if Yogi Bear could learn a thing or two from Lotta Litter's wasteful ways, our kids should too.
Hey, we'll have to take care of her some way.
But this was one cartoon, one message to conserve in a sea of consumption. Pretty soon, the go-go 80s gave birth to the excess 90s, a decade that brought us the extreme shopping channel, the dot-com bubble, and more luxuries than we could ever imagine possible. But then, the bubble burst. Wall Street crumbled and we got slammed by a once-in-a-lifetime recession, and we paused for a second to reassess. Enter freeganism.
It's people who have chosen to opt out of a consumer lifestyle as much as possible. So rather choosing instead not to purchase, but rather to make use of the excessive amount of waste that is produced by our society.
So how big is freeganism? It's hard to say, but Michelle Coyne is doing her PhD in it.
This is connected to the extreme amount of waste that we're producing. We are so close to a crisis point that there have to be radical responses in order to stop us from going over the edge.
Need some stuff?
I do, check her out.
Blythe Blowis's freeganism tendencies were born at a young age to the sounds of the Doors and Led Zeppelin. One day she noticed one of her neighbors had thrown out some large pillows. They were exactly what she wanted, so she and her friends could lounge out and listen to music.
I wanted them so desperately, and my mother had said, and I think she said it in jest, she said, just go get them. So I did.
Today, she can find a use out of just about anything.
You don't like them?
No.
Why? I like them.
Usually when Bliss says I like them, they end up here, in her house. 80% of everything she owns was once someone else's garbage. Where some people will look at their kitchen or living room and say, I bought that at this store or that, Bliss just says free, free, and free.
This is a piano that a family in Hansport was about to throw out.
She also found this lamp, and in PEI, this mirror. In the kitchen, the fridge, in the living room, the family couch. Bits and pieces all over the house.
I found this in the trash. I love it. I brought it home and we use it all the time.
Blythe doesn't call herself a freegan, but she lives by the movement's ideals. That includes teaching others the way.
Being a super consumer is a trickle-down effect onto our children and our children's children. And also doing what I do with my family is a trickle-down effect, so they will learn to take care of the environment.
Call it spreading the freegan gospel. Every freegan does it in their own way, but the freegans of Buffalo, New York have taken it to a whole different level.
When I say free, you say free.
Buffalo, one of the poorest cities in the U.S., has a large freegan community. They sometimes squat in abandoned houses, living as a collective. Nobody's in charge, everybody contributes. There's no one leader. Albert Brown would be considered a freegan elder, but don't call him a leader. He really hates that word.
It's not about, electing some leader. That's one of the problems with the world we see is this hierarchies. Everybody is letting go of their responsibility to think for themselves and giving it over to somebody else.
But what they've done is nothing short of remarkable. The rogue market, or as some have called it, the really, really free market, is an idea imbued with anarchy. Nothing here is for sale. You don't even need to bring anything to take something back. And if you don't have anything tangible to give, expertise won't be turned away.
Free Spanish lessons.
Not only did we kick down free bikes to kids in the neighborhood with bike helmets, all that, but after we did that, they were bringing their own bikes over. Other kids brought their bikes over that needed repairs because they knew we had skills with bike repair.
Some freegans choose to live life to extreme standards. They live completely off the grid. Whatever they need to survive day to day, they scavenge. There are few of those around. Most freegans are open to technology and use it to further the movement. To that end, they use websites like freecycle.org, a site that connects freegans around the world and allows them to trade their goods, with tens of thousands of members from Canada. They also find free stuff on Kijiji or Craigslist.
The movement is about freedom. I don't want it turned into some style that gets sold at Saks Fifth Avenue or in the latest store with, the black hoodie jacket with the cool t-shirt that has, A for anarchy.
We've seen that before. The grunge music scene of the 1990s started in Seattle with a bunch of bands wearing flannel, which they bought for cheap from surplus stores. Pretty soon the look became the style, and high-end stores began selling that same flannel for a huge markup. That won't happen with freegans. There's no cachet in dumpster diving.
Peaches, we're cutting recently, hot peppers, onions, green onions, burritos.
Name it, they've found it.
What they should really do is just put a separate bin,
That says free.
That just says free food.
But they wouldn't do that because that's anti-capitalist.
Right. They can get in trouble.
You get in trouble. You get in trouble for giving food to people who are hungry, which is insane.
What's insane is how much food they find. And back in Toronto, just how fresh a freegan dish can be. For Lori Kleik, tossing a freegan salad is part of a new lifestyle that has allowed her to lose weight, 115 pounds so far, and given her a whole new outlook on the world. The obsession with things, baubles, trinkets, whatever you want to call it, it's consumerism 101. She now subscribes to freeganism, and she's happier for it.
No, I didn't like the choices that I made or the obsessions that I had. I didn't like any of that stuff. But now I'm my own best friend.
Still to come on 16 by 9.
You can feel the bagel bag, and lo and behold, there will be bagels in it.
She said, I haven't paid for food in like 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. I've just been doing freegan stuff, eating like a king, just giving food to her friends.
That's all coming up. Welcome back to 16 by 9, the bigger picture.
The Big Apple, big waste. With piles of garbage hitting the curb every night, New York City is practically a freegan's paradise. Our Mike Drolet gets a lesson on how to be a freegan, New York style.
It's hard to avoid the power of consumerism. Everywhere we look, there's another ad, another way of selling stuff we desperately want, even if we don't really need it. But there's a movement afoot that's going in a different direction. They're called freegans. They dumpster dive for food, trade stuff that others consider junk, and live off the grid as much as they can. Madeline Nelson is one of the most prominent freegans in New York.
So, welcome to a freegan.info trash tour.
New York, the city that never sleeps. It's also one of the largest producers of garbage in the world. 15 million tons of waste annually. It's almost as if people are encouraged to take a bite out of the Big Apple, but only one bite, because you can always find another apple.
50% of all the food in the United States, if you count it from the farm to when it gets thrown out by supermarkets, 50% of it ends up in trash.
50%?
Yeah.
The freegans go out at night for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's when the stores toss their bags onto the street. And they have rules, which is decidedly un-freegan, but what Madeline says is the law. So they make sure they don't block the sidewalks and they untie bags rather than ripping into them. Leaving places neater than how they found them is just good business.
So I'm curious, what sort of reaction do you get when people see you on the street?
It's New York City. We're lucky here in that it's all very, very accessible. It's out on the street in a bag. We're not trespassing. We're not diving into dumpsters, actually, despite the name. It's all very easy to do, very open. And people might give us a look at first, but once you see how much is wasted, almost nobody wants to see that waste.
Our first stop on our tour of Manhattan doesn't net too much.
Anything good in there?
Oh, nothing in here except they have these really good bottles that I use for home fermenting.
It isn't until we spot a grocery store that's just closed that we hit freegan nirvana.
It doesn't look like anything's wrong with that.
Nothing. Oh,
it looks like it was fresh meat.
It was made today.
And how much would that have cost you?
$11.25 apparently. But I guess, a couple of minutes after they close, it's a little different price range.
Edward, like most freegans, has a job, but as a behavioral economic researcher, he doesn't get paid much. This is his first foray into the world of freegan scavenging.
So why have you decided to do this?
This girl who came by my house, she said, I haven't paid for food in like 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. I've just been doing freegan stuff, eating like a king, just giving food to her friends.
In New York, there's so much waste, freegans can actually be picky. Yes, they forage through supermarket trash and eat slightly bruised produce.
Who wants very, very soft bananas?
I'll have some banana.
They're very soft. You like to make a banana bread?
That's fine. It's actually everyday people are kind of like figuring out that this is like how ridiculous the whole, food system is, and that this is a viable but sometimes a little bit embarrassing way of getting around that.
But so much of what we eat is made to be fresh every day. So outside a bagel shop, they know what to expect.
You can feel, you don't have to open every bag the way we do at the supermarkets. You can feel the bagel bag, and lo and behold, there will be bagels in it.
There's no way of knowing how many freegans are out there. The definition of what is and isn't a freegan is so loose, even hardcore freegans sometimes chafe at the term. And besides, labels are for everyone else. For many, it's just common sense. Why spend cash on something that they can get for free?
Organic grape tomatoes. You can shop. It's not just that you have to take what's there. You can, go with whatever your eating habits are.
On our tour of New York, we met people from all walks of life and socioeconomic levels. Deirdre calls herself a dormant artist. Because of that, she's less freegan and more survivalist.
Not everybody is making a political statement.
Okay.
Some people are doing it out of need.
Are you doing it out of need?
Definitely. It's a combination. I mean, I'm, environmentally savvy, but I definitely need to do it.
This is probably the last official stop on our tour tonight, and seems to be the most bountiful.
After 3 hours walking the streets of New York, the freegans lay their spoils out for all to see. Food far from rotten, much of it fresh. And the point is made. This isn't a special night, it's a typical night.
30 or 40 of us that are walking through the streets are all coming home loaded with enough food to feed ourselves and our families and to provide for a feast for many of us for tomorrow night because there's something wrong with our system.
At the end of the day, they're certainly happy with the money they've saved, but more than anything else, they feel better about themselves. There's something about finding things for free and sharing them that they find intoxicating.
Who needs roses? Anybody need roses?
There's more and more awareness of issues like global warming and rampant waste, and I think people feel empowered if they can do something about it.
Take home enough to make a bouquet.